right, so today we are continuing on with compassion for ourselves and others, starting with ourselves, building up that foundation, filling up our own well, as they say, so we have something to give from without overdoing it, without feeling empty and depleted. So my name is Jessica Crow. If I saw you in a dream, here we are in real life. Hello again. Nice to see you. Thank you for coming back for more on this Compassion for Self and Others series. I love this series. I love all of the series that I teach, but this is one of my favorite ones, and I think it's an underrated one. I don't think that people really truly realize the importance of cultivating more compassion. I think that we do notice how we treat ourselves sometimes, and we notice negative self-talk and thoughts, sometimes recurring patterns here and there, but we don't understand the true impact of making shifts, of changing that internal language, just switching the radio station. We don't understand the impact of having a seat like we are today and doing that work, doing that inner exploration, but then also taking it out into the world and noticing times when it's happening, noticing what's triggering these thoughts, these critical thoughts, self-judgment, those feelings of beating ourselves up, like, the same things over and over. We don't notice those actual real world triggers. So we're here to sit together today and do some of these exercises to get more familiar with maybe how to approach our inner selves, how to talk to ourselves in a different way, but also to strengthen our brain, especially in the areas that will help us catch that self-talk out in real life. Out when we're having conversations with people, we're making decisions, we make a mistake, the brain wants to revert back to that same old self-talk of beating ourselves up. You're not good enough. You've never made this work. It's never gonna work. This person doesn't like you. It's obvious. Like all of the things, all of that chatter that probably isn't even true, but it's just been going on a long time. We can help. We can start to catch that in real life. Notice it happening. Create a little space between it and us, our big self, our inner self, and notice that that is just chatter. That is just a pattern that's repeating. Why is it repeating? Because it's just comfortable, not because it's beneficial. It's just comfortable. It's easy and it's familiar. So the brain likes to just go with what's familiar. If nothing else is being said in the brain, it'll just go with something familiar. So the first thing we'll do is start to notice when it's happening and say, hey, that's not me. That's just that same thought again. That's that same thing that recurs. And then notice the little space of awareness between it that you caught yourself and noticed it before you started believing it and feeding into it again. And then eventually your mind will get so much more powerful that you'll catch these little thoughts. And you'll catch this just negative sense that also seeps into your body. And then you can change it. You can choose to apply something different in that moment to create real change. And of course, this takes practice. It takes time and routine. But the more that you do it, you're sort of like re-grooving the brain. You're rewiring it, remolding it, making new connections, so that at some point in time, you're going to notice, hey, I would have usually had that really self-critical thought right now when this, when I flunked this exam or blew this first date or whatever it is. I would have been, feeling a lot different right now. But instead, this is my new thought process, this more positive, open-minded, self-confident process. Find a comfortable seat. If you can, bring your hips a little bit higher than your knees, no matter how you're seated today, whether you're in a chair, on a cushion. And then allow your shoulders to drop down and back. You can close your eyes or you can keep them slightly open if that makes you more comfortable. This is all about your comfort level. Your spine should be tall. Imagine it lifting up effortlessly as if there was a string on the back of your head. Someone was gently pulling the top back of the head up. Feel all that length as you breathe in deeply. And exhale, soften your face, your eyelids, your jaw, all the way down to your hands, which can rest up or down on your lap. Make sure that your tongue is just resting softly in the mouth and the teeth are not clenched. There's a little space between top and bottom teeth. And begin to turn your attention inward to your breath. Notice how your breath is moving today. For this practice, I want you to become the observer. So imagine you're just sitting back a little bit, away from all of these things that we're going to witness and inquire. You're just seated back a little ways, a little space between you and the sensations, thoughts, or feelings. Let's allow there to be space. How is your breath feeling today, right now? Now, if you shift your focus to your physical body, the entire physical body seated here right now, what are the overall sensations and feelings? How does your body feel today, right now? We're going to try a new technique. It's really just a new variation of the body scan, which we've done before, a mindfulness body scan. We are going to be mindfully resting our attention in each place of the body, and I will guide you. But while we're there, we're also going to practice extending compassion, understanding, caring, and kindness to that body part. Sound a little weird? It's going to feel a little funny at first to directly communicate with a part of your body, but trust me when I say that every single cell in that area is listening. You can imagine them like workers. They're all your employees. And they are listening. They are you. They're listening for the type of thoughts and intentions and energy that you're sending them. So with a sort of kindness and compassion, you can say anything you like to that body area. It could just be a simple thank you. Thank you for working for me. Thank you, heart, for beating all day and night without needing me to do anything. Thank you, feet, for supporting my body and getting me everywhere I need to go. It's amazing. So any way you want to show kindness and grace and thankfulness, You'll just send that intention, or you can say it internally like an affirmation. We're going to start down at the feet. So go ahead and move your attention to your feet, and in particular your toes, all 10 toes. You can wiggle them around a little. Feel all 10 toes. And take a moment to place all of your attention there as if nothing else existed, just your toes. How are they feeling right now? And after you notice how they're feeling at this moment in time, you're going to go ahead and send your compassion, your thankfulness, and kindness to them. And then we leave them alone. Move to the next body part. So moving to the soles of the feet, noticing and then sending your message. Soles of the feet. And now the tops of the feet. The heels and the ankles. The lower legs. The knees. Upper legs and thighs. The hips and hip joints. Noticing how they feel, sending your message. The pelvis and the lower back. And just notice if you feel any resistance to sending something positive. Perhaps it's the places that feel uncomfortable. Notice that and try it anyway. Even though you're uncomfortable, thank you for being part of me. Move to the abdomen now. And now the middle back and spine. The chest and rib cage. The upper back and shoulder blades. The shoulder joints and tops of the shoulders. Upper arms. Elbows and forearms. The palms of your hands. Backs of your hands. Fingers and thumbs. Now the neck and throat. The jaw and the face. And the skull and the scalp. Now move to the eyes. The nose. The inside of the mouth. The ears. And down into the chest, the heart. The lungs. Stomach. Liver. Kidneys. And all the rest. You can start to shift your attention gently back to your breath now. Notice how you're feeling after observing and then approaching the body with a new sort of self-talk, a new intention. Did it feel easy or was it challenging? And letting the breath just move in and out naturally. And I want you to now start to shift your awareness up to your mental space. So you can imagine, if you like, that that mental space is somewhere deep in the brain or deep in the skull, somewhere between the ears. And you can just rest there. If you want, you can shrink yourself down in your imagination and just take a comfy seat or lie down right there, somewhere deep in that mental space. And for the next moment or two, start to shift your awareness and attention to sound. Any sounds in your environment, whether they're close to you or far off in the distance. Get the sense that you're not reaching for them or searching for them. You're just really allowing all of these vibrations to come. Noticing them and noticing any effect that they have on you. And remembering to practice keeping that space between the stimulus, the sound, and your internal reaction or self-talk. Noticing what happens. Notice how many times your mind wanders back to thinking, planning, judging. And every time it wanders, just gently with compassion, guide it back. Receiving sound, that's all. Witness the types of thoughts that come up as you're just listening. What is that ego voice, that inner critic saying? Let's now shift our focus away from sound and just to the thoughts and the self-talk and the memories and planning and any other mental activity that pops up. You can position your awareness perhaps somewhere around the back of the forehead. Notice if any train of thought is pulling you away from this comfortable seat positioned with spaciousness, away from these mental processes. Let's just see what types of thoughts and ideas come and go without getting attached. This practice of just watching, just observing our thoughts without judgment, without grasping, is a microcosm of what we're going to take out into the everyday life. This is a very isolated practice of how we're going to observe and witness and catch ourselves in unuseful thought patterns later on. So let's try a little experiment now that we're tuned in. Our awareness is very centered, in touch with our mind state. Let's bring to mind something that happened. Let's make it something rather recently, maybe something in the last year, maybe something in the last month. It was a time or a situation, an event, when you did notice yourself kind of beating yourself up or criticizing yourself. You did notice some unhealthy habits resurfacing. And that could be in the form of thoughts and the mental chatter, the way you were talking to yourself that you noticed, or a behavior that it produced. So try to recall something. It could be big, it could be small. Something where you judged yourself for not doing a good enough job, not getting XYZ, not being good enough. Bring one thing to mind. We all have something, right? Because we're all human. So try to recall that feeling. If you didn't notice yourself doing it in the moment, maybe you can still recall just from thinking about the event that there was an unhealthy train of thought or there was a behavior that you used to distract yourself or numb yourself or make yourself feel better. So try to find that now, and I want you to really sink back into that feeling. And we're going to experiment with replacing the self-talk, replacing the behavior by imagining a different one. Take about 30 more seconds to just decide on something if you haven't, and then bring those details to mind as best you can. I know it's probably not comfortable, but we're going to try to shift it. We're going to massage it a little bit. Take a couple deep breaths. And we are back in that moment where we're feeling that unhappiness for ourselves. Let's extend the same way we did to our body parts. Let's extend some kindness to our entire self. First of all, for just being human and making mistakes and having growing pains. So what can you say? How can you change your self-talk? Just a little bit. We don't have to go to an extreme. No worries, you'll do better next time. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress, right? You did better than you would have years ago. Or what is a healthier way to nurture yourself after the fact? Is there a healthier behavior you could have applied to give yourself more self-love? If it helps you, imagine that you're speaking to a little child version of yourself, 5 or 6 years old. We wouldn't blame them for doing something wrong or making a mistake or a bad decision, because they're still learning and growing, and they deserve kindness and care and positive reinforcement. So for the next 30 seconds, let's just channel all of that self-compassion and kindness to ourselves. You can allow that soft smile to come to your face, just turning the outer corners of your lips up a little bit, softening the jaw, the area around the eyes. If you like, go ahead and place one or both hands over your heart center or anywhere else in your body that you're called to place that warmth and reassurance. And just thanking yourself now for showing up for this practice and trying these experiments, doing this work, because you've already put a new routine, a new inner routine into place. Take a deep, full breath into your hands, into your heart, and exhale through the mouth. Once again, everyone, all together. Breathe and fill up as much as you can. Exhale. and let your eyes come back open. Start to take in the experience of your space again. Notice how you're feeling in your body, your breath, your mind state, your emotional state. So this is a beautiful practice to do. It doesn't have to take half an hour. It can take 5 or 10 minutes every day, every other day, where you check in with yourself. Maybe it's just one body part, or maybe you're more quickly moving through the body. Maybe you just go to that place, that event that happened where you wanted to feel better about it, and you just do a little tweak, a little readjustment. This is all going to help you over time to strengthen the parts of the brain that will catch you in real time, so that you can really redevelop how you talk to yourself and treat yourself. So thank you all for doing this. Thank you for trying this. I know it's not the easiest type of meditation exercise, but I appreciate you going inward and doing this for yourself and being here today.